Are you happy now? These idiots won't get anything done. They'll starve soon.
For a game made in 2018, Raft slaps to a simply disgusting degree. Despite the bears and sharks and every living creature on this godforsaken planet trying to kill you at every turn, it's actually pretty peaceful and calm until a seagull makes off with your potatoes. The storyline in this game is actually phenomenal. I wasn't really expecting a more open world game to have such a good storyline, but when you play through the storyline, you get to know these various characters, and then you end up meeting them at the end, and then you defeat the bad guy, and it's a lot of fun to go through the storyline. More open world games usually tend to tickle my brain, and Draft was no exception. I love the way that you can follow the storyline, but you can also just kind of do whatever you want, and that just tickles my brain in a way that very few games ever have. Although the physics in this game can be, well, questionable sometimes, it's still graphically very appealing. Take, for example, Utopia kind of coming out of the fog and appearing on the horizon. I just love every time that I approach a different island and just see it kind of rising out of the fog. Same thing with the sunlight streaming through the rope bridges and nets on Utopia. It's just beautiful. One thing that I did note about this game, first of all, I don't really know where in the world this takes place, but one thing that I did very much notice is there is not a single American. None of the playable characters are Americans, and I don't think any of the NPCs are Americans either. And it just kind of made me laugh because no American would survive. If you are following the storyline, you will come across a bunch of different story-related islands, and each of them are all so cool to explore. There's so many different details that you would miss the first time going through, and at some point I would like to go through and do it all again just to kind of explore a little bit more, because the first time that I went through the storyline, I just kind of wanted to find out how the story ended. Although the graphics aren't AAA title game quality, they're still very wonderful to look at. Take, for example, a sun rising up over the waves and just filling the air with that golden light. It's just so beautiful, even on a 2D screen. One thing that I did want to mention, not as a dig at the graphics, but just kind of an interesting detail, is the rock textures on the side of Balboa Island. For some reason, I don't know why, but it reminds me of monkey bread. As someone who does usually end up preferring VR games to computer games, Raft is one game that I would absolutely love to have in VR. Just being able to cast out a fishing line or throw that hook into the ocean in VR, oh my goodness, if we could get a really smooth transition, not just like some janky knockoff, but some way to really be able to get a good Raft in VR. I would pay so much money for that. Another reason why I do really like Raft is because it is very fun single player, and I could spend hours just playing this by myself. And whenever one of my friends joins and I'm playing multiplayer, it just makes it so much more fun to be able to explore the world and go through the storyline with other people. It has a really nice mix of storyline game and open world game, which seems, from what I've heard, a little bit like Breath of the Wild, so I might end up checking that out because it's also very popular, even though I was never really into the Zelda franchise. I haven't really gotten around to messing around with that much. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Raft if you've been considering getting it and maybe it's on a sale or something. I would recommend it. It's a lot of fun to mess around with by yourself and also with friends. Now, if you're still watching this, then you probably either you're one of my friends and are just watching this video still for the analytics, or you actually really enjoy this content. If you do, I would ask you to subscribe because this is the kind of content that I'm going to be uploading. And also, I've been thinking of starting to do streaming more often, and if this video gets a certain amount of likes, then I'll start doing a Raft playthrough. stream series, so that should be a lot of fun. If you want to, go ahead and subscribe. It'll help me out a bit. And I will see you again whenever you decide to come back.